Hi everybody, welcome on today's episode. Today is Tuesday the 22nd of August 2017. I wanted to start this video by saying a big thank you to people that sent me messages telling me that they appreciated yesterday's video as well as the Bach videos. I really appreciate when I get some kind little feedback, so thank you so much. If you do like the videos, if you like the exercises, please give me a little thumbs up. It really helps. So that because more people will be able to view those videos. This is how YouTube ranks it, so maybe we can help other people that are on the same path as us. Also, you can share them to your friends that will benefit from those videos. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss a single episode, then please subscribe to the channel. We'll be talking about music, we'll be doing those exercises, I will be posting some music, some recordings, but also there will be other things that are extra musical that have nothing to do with music but that are very beneficial for peak performers, whether it's in business and entrepreneurship, building startup, learning how to code, the science behind learning. I'll be talking about a lot of things, so maybe you can benefit from that too. So if you want to subscribe, then you're going to be sure that you're not going to miss a single episode. So yesterday's episode was on buzzing, the mouthpiece to go down in the low register, and I hope it helped. I know that I wasn't doing perfectly yesterday, so it means that I just need to practice it more. Obviously it's not gonna, you might not feel the benefits from this exercise after 1 or 2 times, even maybe 10 times, 20 times or 100 times. Just keep doing it until it gets better. And don't get yourself a time limit. It's okay if you're very slow. It's okay if your progress is slow, as long as you keep moving forward and do the exercises that will help you to progress. Just be patient and persevere. And if you need to take a break, take a break. So yesterday after the video I said that I would be talking about breathing, so I kind of prepared myself mentally to talk about a few breathing exercises and to do a few breathing exercises together for the daily exercise that I want to do on this particular playlist of the channel. But then I recorded the saraband, you might have heard it, and what I do when I record those videos, I just film it. I don't edit it at all. I just change the background so that you don't see the mess that's behind me and that you can just we can just concentrate on the playing. So I just change the background, but I don't edit anything. I don't edit the sound. I don't do any cuts. I don't do any takes. I just record it, put it on YouTube, put it online, and that's it. And then I look at it and I judge myself. So it's never perfect. It's not perfect, obviously, because to record first take, I didn't practice for a long time. I didn't practice those pieces really enough to make them good enough if it was a performance or if it was a CD recording or something like this. But I'm doing those videos for one reason only, and it's research, personal research. And this is one of the subjects that I want to talk about today, is research and how failing will make you better. So in terms of playing your instrument. As you might know, I have been heavily focused on coding. I'm making iPhone apps. And what's strikingly different for me when I started learning how to code was the approach to to errors, and to what we would call debugging. So what happens is that you learn a certain concept and then you try it out, and it fails 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. Maybe it'll take you hundreds of hours to figure something out, but you test, and then you iterate on what you have done to make your program or a function better. And this, I think, we don't do enough when it comes to practicing our instruments. So we have lessons with our teachers, we read books, we practice studies, we look at videos on YouTube, however you may be learning. Us musicians, we don't really have as much of the research and research mindset. We want to learn information. So we research what is the best technique, what is the best technique for our fingers, how we should breathe, how to practice lip flexibility, what is good technique, what is a good embouchure position, but we don't really test it. So we kind of take our teacher's words for it. And this is not, I'm not sure this is the best way of learning. So what I'm going to do right now is take the example of the saraband that I recorded yesterday and check out some things. So I remember that the first thing that struck me was my position. And what you can do with your instrument right now, if you have your instrument, is to check out what position makes you play in the best fashion. And I was thinking a lot about this recently because I read this book. I have it here because I wanted to show it to you. It is called Awareness Through Movement. It's by Moshe Feldenkrais. You might know Feldenkrais technique. It's being taught a lot in conservatories and music universities these days, alongside Alexander technique and yoga now, or Qigong, Tai Chi, things like this for musicians. And there are some exercises here to improve your posture, your imagination, and your personal awareness, it says. At the back there's a quote by Yehudi Menuhin, one of the best, how can you say best? A really, really amazing violin player from the 20th century, and he says the exercises are so simple and so ingenious, and they themselves lead on to others which one can invent in the same style. So you take the exercises and then you kind of make variations on them so that it's better suited to your own person, your own individuality. He says, it is so clever to develop the body by making the mind and senses aware of each side of the body separately. It increases the subtlety of sensation and starts a competitive cycle as each side stimulates the other. So you have to keep in mind that this was written in a time where we didn't have such easy access to video. But now what we can do is we can record ourselves, we can film ourselves, and then we can check out, you can analyze better. And this is what I'm trying to do with those videos. You can use my videos, or you can also film yourself and then analyze yourself. And in this book there's a lot about posture, and when asked what is good posture, he doesn't have the answer of showing you a little skeleton or putting a string to your head and telling you good posture is when you're centered from the top of your head to the middle between your toes. He doesn't say that. When asked what is the best posture, he tells you the best posture is the position where you are available for movement, where you're available for the most efficient, natural, and effortless movement. And this is this struck me when I looked at myself play the saraband, because I didn't have a very good posture in the sense of what Feldenkrais tells us. I was slightly like this, and my fingers were very flat on the valves that you see, and my pinky was like this. And I mean, I've not played today, so excuse my sound, but like. What happens is that the sound is not good, the phrasing is not flowing, and so yesterday I said that I wanted to do videos about breathing because my breath was not good, but actually, if we want to go back and dig deeper into the subject, it's not my breathing technique that was bad, it's that I was not in a position to be available for good breathing, and the good breath would have made my sound much better. So just sitting in a good posture. I'm not on the best chair. I'm on my desk chair right now, but it's okay. I can still make myself available by putting my feet flat on the ground and holding myself straight but relaxed. Like you wouldn't want to be like this. It just doesn't work, right? So relax, and also just putting the fingers flat, not flat like this, but like putting the fingers naturally. We're very lucky playing the euphonium or the tuba or those kind of instruments that are the cello, that are very natural. So you just sit, the instrument kind of, or sit or you stand, and this instrument just kind of just goes perfectly well inside of your arms. It's not like the trombone where you have to hold it like this, it hurts your left shoulder, or the violin where you're all completely twisted out. This is a very natural instrument to play, so really take advantage of this. And the fingers, you know, my fingers yesterday were like this, and if I was to play something really fast, it doesn't work very well. But if you put your fingers in a more natural way and a more relaxed way, then it works better. My vowels are really bad, but you get what I mean. So try it out. This is what I want you to do. I want you to take your instrument and try out different positions. And try out putting tension, like a lot of tension, and try to play and see what's the difference in your sound when your arm has tension and when it doesn't. And this will affect a lot of things. It will affect your intonation, because if you're freer, if you're more relaxed inside of your embouchure, inside of your mouthpiece, the intonation will be more in harmony to the vibration of your instrument, because you'll be free, your lips can vibrate in harmony to the vibrations of your instrument. Your instrument is your amplifier, and just like you would need to have a compatible cord to your speakers to go from your CD player, for example, you need your lips to vibrate in a compatible way to the instrument. This is how you obtain good sound and good intonation. I'm repeating myself, but it's really important, being in harmony with the vibrations of the instrument. And I don't mean this in a tree-hugging way or a cookie, fortune cookie style, but you have to be in harmony again with the vibration of the instrument. So that's one thing. And the second thing was how to intake air. This is something that I want to talk about today also. What is the best way to intake air? So I have a few books here that I can show you about breathing specifically, and amongst other things. The first one is The Breathing Gym by Sam Pelafian and Patrick Sheridan. It's quite a cool book. There's a lot of exercises that are applicable for every brass player. I'll link it below if I can find the links. If it's available on Amazon, I'm not sure. If it is, I'll link it. And it's good to improve your breath and your control and your airflow for most instruments, but I do find that some exercises are very specific to the tuba. But it's good for anybody, even vocalists and even public speakers that need a better air quality. There's also this other book that we're going to talk a lot about. This book, we're going to take specific passages and we're going to talk about it. It's a book by Bruce Nelson. It's Also sprach Arnold Jacobs. Arnold Jacobs is very famous for working with breath and with all the gadgets that we'll talk about, also like the breath builder and the spirometer with and without the mouthpiece, and also the air balloon, you know, this thing, 6 liters. We're going to work with this. We're going to do exercises later in this series, if I can say. There's also the Ultra Breathe. I bought this when I was a student of Stephen Mead. I think he sells it on his website. It's also available on Amazon. I'll link it below. And there's this little pipey thing that's kind of funny. It's not so useful. It's just good to like calculate how long you can blow, and it's kind of fun for kids. See, it's kind of funny. And there's also this to calculate your breath capacity, but it goes up to 5,000 milliliters, which is now too small for me because I can just go larger than this limit. But it's good if you're starting out and you want to check out how much you can breathe. There's also a subject that we don't talk much, but that's really important. I used to smoke cigarettes, and there's no two-way to it. It's incompatible with brass playing. It's incompatible with live. You are gonna die if you smoke. It's 99% sure, and you're gonna suffer, and etc. etc. But that doesn't really matter to you, to most smokers, because nicotine tells you that it's okay, that you would rather have your last cigarette, like I know in the old movies, you know. But this is how you would change your old this is a good technique, sorry, to change this bad habit, it's a horrible habit, is to replace it by something that is incompatible. And working on your sound, working on your tone, if you want to have a better sound, if you want to play better your instrument, smoking is incompatible with playing a brass instrument. It doesn't matter who you are, what you say, it's incompatible. So this, I think it's worth saying, because I see teachers, brass teachers, smoking with their students, and I'm thinking, how can you teach them about music, about sound, about playing the technique of the instrument, where you're you're smoking together? It's just ridiculous. I'm not gonna like make a whole video on the benefits of quitting smoking and of and the how bad it is to smoke. I think you know. But I just thought it was important, since I'm talking about breathing, to mention that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the shape of the mouth when you breathe. And this is again going back to what I was telling you later, of when you learn how to code, what fail, and adapting your failures and your errors. I want you to research what is the best way to intake air. I'm not going to give you the answer, because I want you to find the answer, and maybe you can post it in the comments for what's best for you, and I'm just going to give you some indications, and we can talk about it, and we can discuss what we think is best. Until very recently, I always felt that the best way to intake air for us was with the letter O. And in this book, in Breathing Gym, he makes you do an exercise called E2O, and basically E, because you're not gonna, this I can give you the tip, you're never gonna breathe with the syllable E, like, so he gives you this exercise called E2O, and goes like, and the O is the final breath, which is the good way to breathe. And a few years ago, I had a lesson with Jim Markey. He's the principal bass trombone for the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and he was before he was in the New York Philharmonic. And I had a master class, and I got to have a lesson, and he was arguing that the best was I saying syllable from the start? I'm sorry if I did. I meant vowel. Sorry, my English is terrible. The vowels that we should use for breathing might not be O, but A. And so we were breathing A and breathing O. So what I want you to do as the exercise for today is which vowel is best suited. So just take your instrument and try it out. Try it out when you play, try it out after you've let the air out. Breathe it out. And notice which one is the best breath. But before you do this, you might ask yourself, what is a good breath? What does a good breath do? What does it feel like? And this is another thing that you can research on your own, but we can talk a little bit about it here. I saw a masterclass recently of a really famous singer. It's on YouTube. If I find it again, I will link it. And he was talking about the amount that you breathe for the amount that you need to play. So sometimes you see players breathe an enormous quantity of air, and then they had only those 3 notes to play. Or this is a stupid example, but you know what I mean. And is this really necessary? Is this the most efficient way? You want to be efficient. You want to be able to play with the least amount of effort. So that comes with posture, that comes with the way you breathe, and that comes with the way that you deal with energy. And taking huge breaths just to play a few notes, it's not very good to save up your energy and concentrate that energy on the music. So this is something else to think about. What is a good breath? Well, for me, a good breath, a big breath, it should have a limit. It should not exceed the limit where you will create the tension in your body that will give you a bad sound. Yesterday in the saraband, when I watched the video again, I think, whoa, there's so many places where I split notes, where I mess up after the breath, because I'm trying to take a huge breath. I'm not using a good breath technique, also because I'm not available to with my bad position. We talked about this earlier. And so I mess up. I mess up because I try to take too much air, and so it creates tension. It moves my embouchure in a place where it's not supposed to be, and it's going to crack a note. So this is what the second exercise, normally we have only one exercise, but the second exercise is to research what is the limit for your breath, so that it's the biggest possible to have a long and flowing phrase, and at the same time that it's not going to create tension, so that you can play, breathe, play, breathe, play, breathe, play. When I used to take lessons with Winton, he used to talk about the pendulum. There was a pendulum and it had to swing, and so it was in the most natural, effortless and tensionless way possible. I think that's enough for today's video. We didn't do many specific exercises, and we will in the future, but I think that it was a good idea for me to talk about researching what's the best thing for you to do. So obviously it's really good to have a teacher to tell you things, and also to have a second pair of ears, but you have to do a lot of personal research. I think this is really, really important. So that's it for today, and I'm going to record my minuets now, and tomorrow we'll do a more specific exercise, I promise. Something, I think we're going to do some finger flexibilities, or maybe I'll choose a breathing exercise. Please tell me in the comments below actually if there's some exercise or some subjects that you would like to talk about. What I would like to do also in this channel, sorry I said that it was the end, but I talked so much. What I would like to do also on this channel is to present some exercises and some thoughts, some ideas that we don't necessarily have in music that we can apply to music. An example I have for that is researching breathing. There's so many different ways of breathing, and I just found this app. I'll talk about it later. If somebody's interested in it, please hit me a message. For people that hold their breath underwater, so it's to train divers and to train apnea athletes, you know, people that dive really, really deep with no gear, so with no oxygen bottles. And there's an app for that, and it really helps you expand your breathing capabilities. And that's really cool. So this is what I want to do also in this channel, is take some exercises that you would not expect. I also have a few productivity hacks, how to practice not so much but the best possible. This is something that I would like to talk also. So productivity, and also learning. What are the best ways to learn? How does your brain accumulate the best information in the smallest amount of time? This is very useful for someone like me, for example. I only have like an hour during my lunch break to practice and to learn new skills for my instrument. And so I need to be as efficient as possible and not waste too much time, like I do now, like blabbering around. And also there's also some nutritional tricks. I did this little diploma in nutrition, and I think it's really important for musicians to know certain things. There are some biohacking hacks, biohacking tricks that you can do to have like a better energy, to have a better brain flow. And it's very simple things, like yesterday, before playing my saraband, I had lunch, and it was with tuna pasta with parmesan. It was delicious, it was awesome, but it was very salty, so then I was very dry and dehydrated, and so to play, certain notes were not produced. So it's all about, if you really want to be a top performer, or at least perform your best, there are some things that you should revolve your life around. Not eating too salty or too spicy before playing is one of them, you know, or drinking a lot of water. You should drink a lot of water anyway, but if you're a brass player specifically, or if you're on tour, if you take a plane, you have to hydrate enormously. And this I think it's important to talk about. So there's a lot to discuss. This is the first few videos, so I have so much information I'd like to share. I will try in the future, I said this yesterday, but I will try in the future to really restrict myself to one particular subject, so the video is not longer than like 5 or 10 minutes. Until tomorrow, take care, practice, and please send me a message, give me your feedback, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Take care, see you tomorrow. Ciao.